The funniest thing is like
trying to recall
horny
the-
stepmom does this. It's like, well, she's having sex. So there's
Imagine if you had to classify everything on a point. It'd be like horny person.
Brunch.
hit it, boys. Hey, I was on my way over here to do this podcast, but and I saw that the boat store was having a sale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the deal with the boat store?
It was a real ordeal.
Oh, fuck off. Oh, that's a good joke.
Yeah, it's the weekend coming up. I was actually supposed to get married this weekend, but I decided to call it off because she's a tennis player, and you should never marry a tennis player. You know why?
No, how come?
Because love means nothing to them.
Jesus Christ. Are you looking these up online right now, or
No.
you rattling them off
No,
the top
but
of your
while
head?
we're talking about sports jokes, have you heard the one about the bad pole vaulter?
Nope.
It usually doesn't go over well.
What the fuck? This is some good stuff right here.
Yeah.
This is great content.
Yeah, good jokes. Speaking of funny things, check out this thing that I saw on Reddit today. I was on Father John Misty Reddit,
Yep.
and somebody asked, has anyone on this subreddit ever met Father John Misty? So I figured the people who have are probably going to have some stories.
Oh, yeah.
And this is the best thing I've ever seen. Someone responded, I met Josh at a restaurant once. We'd accidentally been given his table. Apparently, he was fond of the restaurant and had a specific table he liked, and the management had messed up and gotten their days wrong. It was Tuesday, and they thought he was coming on Thursday or something like that. Anyway, the manager, completely embarrassed, this is a pretty nice restaurant, comes by and says, I'm so sorry, but we'd like to move you to another table if you could be troubled, and we'd gladly compensate you for the cost of your meal and any other meal you'd like while you're in town. My sister and cousin were both like, yeah, that's cool. And I kind of played the asshole a bit. I'm sorry, I just don't understand. We've been here for 15 minutes. We've just ordered. Can't we finish our meal here? Then, out of nowhere, Josh shows up next to the manager and says, Paul, these guys can finish. We'll be at the bar. I've got some time. And I, being a big Father John Misty fan, said, oh, wow, I had no idea. Please feel free to give them the table. Josh was grateful, shook my hand and said thanks, then gave me a card with his number on it and told me to give him a call later. After working up the nerve, I gave him a call that night. And to make a long story short, we had a glorious 11-month love affair, man on man, that I shall never forget. Our bodies intertwined as one, and from the beauty of Morocco to the French Riviera to the snorkeling in the Galapagos, Josh Tillman and I made glorious gay love to each other on 6 of the 7 continents. That's the funniest thing I've ever read in my life.
You teased this story for like probably 3 or 4 days. You're like,
I found out about it like roughly 5 hours ago, so yeah, today.
Yep. And so I don't know. That was pretty funny. I was expecting like a crazy ass twist at the end, not just that they're gay.
Well, the twist was that the person was lying, which was hilarious.
That happens a lot.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's like a common thing I think on the internet. It's like, hey, I met this person, and they like it starts out,
and they like really reel you in.
Yeah, and then like all of a sudden the last 2 paragraphs are just absolute nonsense.
That's amazing, because what are the odds that somebody's going to read this like, I don't know, it's like a 200-word answer it's pretty lengthy, and it's a twist, and they use such phrases as 11-month love affair, man on man. When has anyone ever called sex man on man or like woman on man or anything like that? That's hilarious.
There was like one. Dylan Larkin just made my son's year. I think this. Oh no, damn it! There was a Dylan Larkin story on Twitter that was fucking hilarious, and it was like one of those types of things. Let me see if I can find it.
I used to get into stuff like that all the time back in the day. Like I used to like to do shit like that in person, where I would like tell stories that were possibly believable, and then it just got to the end and it was absolute ragtime. Huge fan of that. I guess I shouldn't be surprised that exists on Twitter, but on the internet. But I'm still like learning about a lot of the trolling that exists online.
Here we go. Dylan Larkin. I met Dylan Larkin a few days ago. I got roped into watching my 3-month-old niece while my sister got her hair done. So there I am, sitting in the waiting area of the hair salon with my niece, and who walks in but D fucking boss himself. I was nervous as shit, and I just kept looking at him as he was sitting there with his phone and waited, but I was too scared to say anything to him. Pretty soon, my niece started crying, and I'm trying to quiet her down because I didn't want her to bother Larkin, but she wouldn't stop. Pretty soon, he gets up and walks over. He started running his hands through her hair and asking what was wrong. I replied that she was probably hungry or something. So Dylan put down his phone, picked up my niece, lifted up his shirt, and he breastfed her right there, right in the middle of the hair salon. Chill guy, really nice about it. It's fucking amazing.
That's awesome. I'm way late to this party that shit like this exists. I'm just gonna start doing that.
Yeah, and I already know that you're gonna start doing it for like work things. You're gonna write a story about like, just met Jason Tatum at the park.
Yeah. Actually, somebody today on Twitter wished me a happy 1-year anniversary because 1 year ago I wrote the winners and losers of the the Kyrie Irving trade, and the first winner was me, and it was like, I loved Kyrie Irving. I also really like Jason Tatum. I hope they're both really good this year.
Can't wait to watch the team. Yeah. Like 4 exclamation points.
But that was so prescient. Like they both ended up being
amazing,
awesome. I guess it wasn't too hot of a take to be like, hey,
yeah, but
Kyrie
at that
Irving
point in
was the
time,
best.
you had no idea who Jason Tatum was.
Yeah, nobody did.
You openly admitted you were like, I don't know anything about this guy. I remember like the first time you found out that he was black, you were like, oh, he's black.
I didn't. Wait, did I not know that he was black?
Yeah.
That's not true.
Well, something like that. You were like, I saw a picture of him and I was like, oh, that's not what I expected him to look like.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I remember you saying that. Speaking of basketball talk, we just had we finally streamed a game of NBA 2K.
The people wanted it. We gave it to all 23 of them. They loved it.
We played a nice little game, custom rosters. My team was all players under 6 feet tall, or 6 feet tall and under, and your team was all players that were only 19.
Pretty
on brand.
Nice little squad that we had going on. I'll be honest. So you won. We played to a tied first half, and then the wheels kind of fell off. That game was a little heightist. They did not give me the advantages that I thought I would have. I thought that I would literally just be able to walk down the court. I guess actually a lot of my guys were like 6'3", so it wasn't that big of a...
Well, I
should have just put in all big guys, and I didn't.
I think that I would have smoked you if the squads were reversed there, because you didn't. I don't think you played to your advantage there. Like, you didn't back me down once.
Nope.
You kept trying to bring the ball up with big men, and then my little guys just swarmed you and would steal the ball. You also just had a lot of unforced errors, just chucking the ball down the floor.
I was big into having Dragan Bender
shoot threes
sit in the corner
yeah.
and take threes like Kevin Love, because
DJ Augustine was my center, and I'm pretty sure that he played every single minute.
Nice.
And he did pretty well. Drained a couple threes. Always a good contribution from your big man. So I was very pleased with the way my team played.
So we played... I'll come around on the video games thing. I know I won't, but I'm gonna try to make myself into them. We did a home run derby after. That was way more enjoyable.
Was it really?
Because it was it was like a quick thing.
Stuff.
You do it for a little bit and then you pass it off. That was always my issue with sports video games. When I was younger, I could play a million games in a row and I would never get tired of it. And now, video games are basically cornhole to me. super cool,
Yeah.
and I love them. And then once I'm doing them for like 5 minutes, I'm like, oh, I bet somebody else would enjoy this more than I would.
Well, then what do you feel about like other like non-sports? Do you ever play non-sports games?
No, I would.
Like, I feel like Grand Theft Auto would be
Yeah,
like,
Grand
right
Theft
in your
Auto was fun,
wheelhouse.
but that was another thing where you do it for like 10 minutes at a time, pass it off, and that because Grand Theft Auto was like the ultimate puff puff pass game,
Okay.
where everybody would sit around, you would get wasted, and then give it to the person next to you.
guy, yeah.
I'm surprised that there hasn't been that like they haven't found a way to make a GoldenEye type game for like PS4 or Xbox or whatever. They've made games that have been like as popular, obviously like Halo and Call of Duty.
Yeah.
It should have been huge, but I find it odd that there's not like a GoldenEye.
I don't know, man. Like we actually, after the Father John Misty concert, we went to a barcade. You didn't stick around for too long.
Oh yeah, did they
but-
have GoldenEye?
Yeah, they had GoldenEye. Like me and Ellen ended up just like sitting at the N64 station
Oh, man.
for a good portion of the night.
Yeah.
like we played Mario Tennis. We played
Mario Tennis
GoldenEye.
rules.
There are just so many games for N64 that are so much fun to play.
I guess
locally.
that's just it. Like I just like N64 a lot better than I like the newfangled things.
Well, I mean, N64 is like it is a specialty console for like living room gaming.
What do you
Like-
mean?
Like, just get a bunch of people in the
Oh,
same
yeah,
room,
yeah.
slap it down in the middle of the living
Yeah,
room,
and it's gonna be
stay
a
there all
blast.
night.
Yeah.
Every game for N64 is basically designed to have the maximum amount of fun with a bunch of people in the same room.
None more so than
Nowadays-
like Mario Kart or Mario Party.
Right.
Mario Party ruled.
Mario
I was
Party
so
was
good
great.
at Mario Party.
Mario Tennis, like all the Mario games, pretty much. Even Mario Golf was a ton of fun.
Yeah. Except when you duffed it. Remember duffing it?
Yeah. There was so many fun things to play on N64 locally. Now all the games are geared towards online and stuff, so it's
Oh, that's why, yeah.
So it's tough, but I feel like now that I know and have a little bit of an experience with streaming, I might do it a little bit more.
Why
Whether it's
haven't
with
they
you, whether
made-
it's you with just me?
Why haven't they made a because they've re-released Super Nintendo and like they've re-released Sega, and you can get those and they plug into a TV that would exist nowadays. How come they haven't done that with N64?
Have they not? I mean,
No.
I mean,
if they did, that would be like the biggest home run. I bet it's
what do you
got to
mean,
be some sort
like
of
a release, like in terms of just like repackaging it.
yeah, because you can buy a Super Nintendo now. Like
That, like, has, like,
at
an HDMI
Best Buy,
or something?
right? And it has like every Super Nintendo game on it.
Oh,
and
that's
it's like
right.
$80
Yeah, yeah.
or something like that.
I know that they have the ones that are like preloaded with all those games and
Right.
stuff.
How have
yeah,
they not made a Nintendo 64 one?
I don't know, man. I
think
would be
they're
the
probably-
first person in line to buy that shit.
Because if they did that, it would sell better than what's the current Nintendo thing? Game House?
Game House, yes.
Yeah.
No, they have the Nintendo Switch. I think is the new one.
Oh, right.
yeah, that would definitely outsell that.
Did people do the Nintendo Switch? That's
Yeah,
the one
because-
that like you can break off pieces. It's like a Power Ranger.
Yeah, no, it's like the one that you can take with you and like also play in your living room, but also take on the go.
Did you were you a Power Rangers guy?
Yeah, when I was a little kid, that was my shit.
My first crush was the Green Ranger.
The Green Ranger?
Yeah,
That's
a
not the
little
girl,
joke.
right?
Yeah. She was the Pink Ranger
Yes.
because that show was problematic as hell. And the bad guys were putties. The bad guys were like black, kind of.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was a super problematic. Actually,
Well, it was in the 90s, so that doesn't surprise me. Did you ever go on Halloween as one of them?
no.
I went as the red one for Halloween.
Everyone loved. Was his name Jason?
I don't know the names. I just know the colors.
Dude, the Black
see
Ranger
color,
was a
that's why.
black guy.
Of course it was. It was
Power Rangers-
very, very problematic.
Yeah. Oh, there was no Green Ranger. No, there was one event.
Making that shit up.
Did they all? I think they all become the Green Ranger. Did who the hell's this Blue Ranger? I don't remember you. Some of these Rangers were way older than I remembered them being. Wait, this Red Ranger looks like somebody.
The Red Ranger's like the leader.
Yeah.
So that's why I was him.
Mighty Morphin Power Rangers starring. I don't know any of these.
I didn't realize that they had like different sort of face masks.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Check this out. Did you watch the The To All the Boys I've Ever Loved.
I have not. No.
It was okay. I watched it in like 31 sittings.
Is that a movie or a TV show?
It's a movie that's on Netflix, and everybody loves it because it's all the feels, and it's like a high school movie,
Coming of age movie.
It's like a cheesy little rom-com, but it kind of has no idea what it's doing.
Okay.
And it was okay, but people are making it out to be. It's an enjoyable watch, but you're like, this movie ended up being something other than what it was trying to be. But the guy from Sex and the City and the guy from My Big Fat Greek Wedding, Aiden.
Okay, yeah.
That guy,
he's in it.
He's in it.
Is he a dad?
He's the dad,
of course,
and he's a good dad. And I was like, oh wow, they got and this guy to be the and this guy, and I realized that guy's not that famous.
No, he's not.
Yeah, like I thought that he was like a big like a legend. No,
I think that his most famous thing now, other than My Big Fat Greek Wedding, is he's the voice of Walgreens.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, he's just like a bootleg all of those guys. He's bootleg Greg Kinnear. He's bootleg like Randy Quaid.
Way more handsome.
Yeah, no, he's a good looking dude.
Which is, I'm surprised that he didn't get more shit. That was like in the hot spot of just get roles because you're a pretty handsome guy.
Yeah. I was so I also watched a movie on Netflix called The Clapper. Mm-hmm. I have no idea why I had never heard of this. 2017. It's on Netflix. It's Ed Helms, Tracy Morgan, and Amanda Seinfeld, and it's about a guy who's a paid studio audience member, and a TV show realizes that he's in all the audiences. So on like a late night show, the Jimmy Fallon, who's played by Russell Peters, is that his name? Is that a guy?
Russell Brand?
No, Russell Peters. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know that guy.
They show like all the clips of this guy, and they're like, "Who is this guy? He's in every studio audience. Like, we got to track down the Clapper." And he ends up he doesn't get any more jobs because people don't want to put him in their audiences, and it's like a very weird, interesting premise for a movie. But I see that it's Ed Helms, Tracy Morgan, and Amanda Seinfeld, and I'm like, okay, I'm down. I'm watching it, in the opening credits, it says Ed Helms, Tracy Morgan, Amanda Seinfeld, blah, 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 this person, that person, this person, with Adam Levine. And I was like,
no.
You fuckers backdoored him in with a with.
That's surprising, though. Like,
with is supposed to be like
a nice little like, oh, him too,
right? And it's like a primary guy too. It's like it's not necessarily a star, but like one of the 4 most important people in the movie. But if they're a big enough name, bigger than a lot of the other
give, like,
leads,
a cameo to a with.
Right,
like, a with is a special thing to get because people notice the with.
Right. So like Randy said that what is it like? EP is usually just like, we're not going to pay you as much, but we'll give you a production credit. Mm-hmm. That's what with I think should be. With should be like, hey, we're so glad that we're able to get you. Not only are we going to pay you your full price, we're also going to toss you a with. But it would be super funny if with bad withs like Adam Levine, if they just like never finish the credits and they wait until the bad character makes his first entrance and they like throw it on there. It's like 25 minutes into the movie, like they open a door and it's like, with Adam Levine. You're like, God,
me.
I knew they weren't done with the credits.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, you mentioned the fact that like it's usually a good thing to be a with. I feel like Adam Levine would be a good with for a lot of people, and I hate all those people.
Adam Levine, I mean, like we've been through the Maroon 5 thing, and I feel like everyone has pointed out how far they've fallen. But Adam Levine, man, he just doesn't do it for me.
Speaking of Netflix movies, did you see the trailer for that new one that's coming out called Hold the Dark?
Hold the Door. It's a Star Wars movie.
Yes. No, Hold the Dark. It is from the director of The Green Room.
Okay.
Have you ever seen The Green Room?
No.
It is a very, very good movie. And it's Blue Ruin as well. The Green Room is an extremely fucked up movie about this band. I think you'd like it. It's a band that accidentally plays at like a Nazi clubhouse, like a KKK clubhouse.
Okay.
And they basically freak out and they get trapped there by the neo-Nazi people, and they have to fight their way out.
What?
Yeah.
When did it come out?
Crazy. 2015.
Who's in it?
It's the guy who was killed by his Jeep, Anton Yelchin.
Anton What was his name? Yelchin?
Yelchin?
Yeah.
He was really, really good in that. He starred in it. I think that he was like really the only like known actor. It wasn't a wide
he's
release
not
or anything.
Known anymore.
He is known, just not for acting.
Yeah.
For dying. Yes. Did you ever hear the story about how that kid died? It was fucking horrible.
Yeah, like his head got like stuck in like what was it?
No, he had like a kind of a steep driveway with like a gate. Mm-hmm. It was a gated driveway, and he pulled to the top of his driveway, must have forgot something, went back down to the gate to open it up, and the car rolled back down and just like pinned him.
Oh yeah, that's what it was. Yeah,
and he died. It was fucking crazy.
That stinks.
Which sucks because I really liked that kid a lot.
Yeah, he was
an alpha dog.
Great in Alpha Dog. Great in Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Was he in Curb Your Enthusiasm?
Plays a magician.
Does he really?
Yeah, he plays a magician who's staying at Larry's house, and he's like a child, and Larry asks him how to do a trick, and he's like, "Can't tell you. You're not a magician." And so Larry comes back, and he was like, "Okay, I'm a magician now. You can tell me." And he's like, "You're not a magician." And I forget what what ends up playing out between those two. I think that he ends up getting run over by his car.
Oh no!
He gets pinned against a fence.
Man.
Very, very sad stuff.
This podcast is like, if you die via car, we're not going to be nice to you.
Well, it's not like we're mean to Paul Walker. We're nothing to him because he doesn't
exist.
It doesn't exist. Paul Walker is in the past. Yeah. Was that my clapper take? Yeah, that was the only thing I had from the clapper.
It's just the Adam Levine thing?
It was a pretty not amazing movie. I can't understand why it was buried on.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't think Netflix has ever had a real amazing movie.
I liked. It wasn't amazing, but I liked Win It All.
What's that?
It was who's my guy? Jake Johnson as a degenerate gambler. And he loses a bunch of money, and then he has to start doing some bad stuff, and then he's got to win it all. That's the
Sounds like a movie that you just made up.
No, I'm not kidding. Don't Google it. Don't Google it. And then Dylan Larkin busts out those breast puppies.
Oh, man. It actually is a movie.
It is a movie. Yeah.
I really thought that you were making that up.
Yeah.
You know what would have been a really good movie straight to Netflix?
What?
Drinking Buddies. You ever see Drinking Buddies?
Yeah, I didn't. Did you see it?
Yeah, I saw it, and like,
It was fine.
I thought it was fine, but it would have been a good Netflix movie.
Yeah, it was. What was that? Oh, it was just like before that was happening, right?
Yeah, it was just like one of those like indie, and Jake Johnson's in that.
Yeah, waste of Anna Kendrick, waste of everybody. Not good enough. Yeah,
Get to see Olivia Wilde naked though.
Nice,
Big into
cool
that.
man. You could see her naked in Alpha Dog too.
Really?
Yeah,
Is she?
yeah, she's an Alpha Dog.
Is she naked?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. Well, look at us. We're a bunch of Mr. Skins
Does she
giving you
breastfeed your niece?
the rundown on Alpha Dog. Hey, speaking of breasts, Hooters is shutting down locations and re-strategizing because a Pornhub study yielded that millennials don't like boobs.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't like look into the details on that. I didn't realize that Pornhub was behind this.
Yeah, well, no, it was like they did a study like through Pornhub, and fewer people are like searching for boobs or whatever, and maybe like I can't speak for the like what each person is searching for, but I would assume that the reason Hooters is getting less business is because people are like, oh,
Hooters sucks.
that's embarrassing to go to Hooters, right? Like,
that's true. Yeah,
I was talking about this with a friend the other day. Have you ever been to Hooters?
yeah.
I've never been to Hooters, and my take was because I don't think there's ever an age. I don't think that anybody's ever the age where they should be going to Hooters, because you're either a kid and you see that Hooters exists and you're like, what? What? They got food and the girls aren't wearing all their clothes? Holy shit, this is $1 million idea. And then you get to be like 16, 17, 18, whatever, and you're like, nah, I don't want to go to Hooters. I could go to a better chicken place and then maybe meet a girl and then maybe take her out on some dates.
I've been to Hooters one time.
We should go to Hooters.
Yeah.
We should do some we should do a live episode from Hooters. Keep them in business.
Yeah. I've been to Hooters one time, and I was like, I'm not going to come back here because the food wasn't good and it was extremely overpriced.
Oh, really? Is it expensive?
Oh, yeah. It is, it's not like expensive, but it's way more expensive than you'd expect a place like for wings and stuff. It's like $13 to $15 for wings, from what I remember.
I
And
also
they
don't know
weren't
how
that
much
good.
wings cost.
Super cheap, or they should be.
It's one wing. What could it cost?
Yeah,
$10? Yeah. So I've actually heard that Hooters has good wings.
They're
That
not
like
that
that
good.
is the appeal there. That like you can get takeout there and that it's good. But I don't know. Have you ever been to Buffalo Wild Wings?
Yeah.
Buffalo Wild Wings, I think, is fucking solid.
Yeah.
It gets shit on all the time.
Yeah, it gets shit on all the time. But I really like Buffalo Wild Wings is fine.
Yeah, they've got like I'm more of like a
Like I'm sure it's gross, and I do not want to see how that shit is made or
you
whatever.
don't want to see how any shit is made.
No, I know, but-
Honestly, like our parents are good cooks, but like you don't want to see your mom preparing something. I'm sure you'd be like, Mom, did you wash your hands between touching that thing and touching that thing?
Yeah, like I went to Buffalo Wild Wings. I had one by my college, so I used to go there a lot because they would also accept fake IDs.
Ooh,
So
I let you get extra chicken.
Yeah,
I'm not driving. You'd say.
yeah. So we went there a lot, and it was solid every time.
We had a chicken place near us, a wings place called Wings Your Way. And the trick with them was that they were super slow and they never delivered you the right stuff.
So
Yeah.
it was just a hit.
But they would fuck up so often that they would just be like, when they fucked up, they'd be like, oh, sorry, just keep it. So we would strategically order food from Wings Your Way. I'd find one of my roommates and I'd be like, hey, are you hungry? And they'd be like, I could eat. And I'd be like, well, would you be hungry in like an hour and a half? And they're like, yeah. So we would just have them, like him order whatever he wanted. They would inevitably bring the wrong thing. We would call them and be like, hey, you fucked up. You brought the wrong thing. I would have that. And then they would bring back the right thing later. And it's like a little two for the price
That's
of one
a
thing.
nice little scam you got going on.
Yeah,
You're
you'd
running a
switch
racket.
off. Yeah, sometimes if your roommate wasn't home, you would you'd end up
Swear
having
double.
all sorts of leftovers, and it was a real treat. Just
There you go.
old college trick of the trade. Yeah,
Nice.
Mike.
Yeah. I mean, I also think that like part of the Hooters thing is I can't imagine there's a lot of people like just going on Pornhub just searching boobs.
Right. Like who's searching? Who's searching boobs? Yeah, I actually would like to see what like the hottest search terms are.
I'd be intrigued.
Well, seemingly from like the fronts of a lot of those pages, like a lot of people are searching for some horrifying shit.
Incest.
Yes,
All the incest
specifically that.
I had a discussion with a female that we both know.
Mm-hmm.
I won't disclose any names here, but I will say it's not Ellen.
Okay,
So,
it's not Ellen, not your mom, not my mom.
a lady
Mm-hmm.
who loves the incest stuff.
Oh, really?
Yes, and like I was questioning and being like, why? And she's like, it's just the idea of it is really hot, and I'm just like, what?
What?
Yeah.
Oh God, no. That is,
but in a sense that she knows that it's not actually like a thing, but like likes the storyline
that
of
like
it.
they're pretending
Yes.
to be.
And I was like, that is fucking weird as shit to me.
Oh no, I am the firmest believer in within the law. Let your freak flag fly.
Right.
Like whatever you're into, fine, cool, whatever. Incest is
and I mean, I guess we have to clarify that it's step incest.
Oh, is that
Yeah, because it's always like stepmom, step blah blah, and I think that
the funniest thing is like
trying to recall
horny
that-
stepmom does this. It's like, well, she's having sex, so there's
Imagine if you had to classify everything on a point, it'd be like horny person.
over it and flaccid stepbrother
No, but I think
gets talked into.
gets coerced.
Yeah.
No, I think that this person was like, yeah, it's hot because it's step and it's not illegal, and I was like, it's still fucking weird as shit.
I would try to wrap up that conversation as quickly as possible. If
I'm
somebody
going to tell you off air, and
Yeah.
you're going to be shocked by who it is.
really,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be ready to say no. I actually don't know that person, and you'll be like, "Oh no, it's from the blah." I'm like, "No, I don't."
There's
know that
no
person.
denying that you know this person.
There's a good chance I don't know this person.
No, there's 100% chance that you do know.
but
this
do I
person.
know them?
Oh yeah,
I thought I knew them.
you do.
It turns out,
Yes, yeah, that's right.
I thought I knew
That's
them.
right.
Turns out they're into some crazy stuff. They listen to this podcast.
I doubt it.
Nice. That's a person.
Yes.
Um,
So that really rounds it down.
yeah. Another thing that people are searching on Pornhub is the Colonel, because there's a new Colonel in town. The Mountain from
Oh,
Game of
shit.
Thrones.
Really, I didn't realize that.
Here's the headline from Life. The Mountain from Game of Thrones dorks it up as KFC's newest Colonel.
Oh, there he is.
This is actually from Uprocks, not Life. It's a Life section of Uprocks, and it's this idiot. There inevitably are going to be a lot more colonels. Who would you want the colonel to be?
So I got a list of potential colonels here. Number one on my list, Chris Berman.
Ooh, Chris Berman would be amazing.
Chris Berman would be an unbelievable.
He'd say,
colonel.
"Our chicken goes buck, 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 buck."
He'd be such a good colonel.
Number one for me, this is just because like an aesthetic thing. Eric Wareheim,
Who is that?
Arnold from Master of None.
Oh yeah, he would definitely be a great.
He'd be a great
colonel.
one.
Yeah, aesthetically, definitely. He's also like goofy as fuck.
Yeah.
Number two for me, this is my last sports person. So I'll say I'm starting off with two sports people. Bob Wiley for the Browns.
Bob Wiley would be amazing.
the Browns offensive line
Bob
coach.
Wiley as Bob Wiley
Yes,
as the Colonel.
yes. Colonel
Just
Bob Wiley.
dressed like the Colonel. Bob Wiley.
Just in like his quadruple XL brown polo as the Colonel.
I actually need to apologize. I got called out for not supporting the troops because I pointed out that maybe, just maybe, it's a little silly to compare people storming the beach at Normandy to people preparing to play a football game in 2018. And someone had tweeted that like Bob Wiley was in whatever war and he did whatever, and someone quote tweeted with like, "So he has been in combat. Bet you feel pretty bad now." Like, or like still want to make fun of him for bringing up war references at DJ Bean. Yes.
Yeah, right.
Still
Come
a
on.
super weird thing to say
Right.
that
like
that we would have lost the war if we stretched. Nope.
Bob Wiley.
They weren't concerned with stretching. They were concerned with living.
Right,
Like,
exactly. And like you're just like kind of you're running. You're not like
Yeah.
doing super strenuous.
Yeah, there's no
like,
cone drills.
Right,
Yeah.
you're not doing like yoga and shit like that.
Very different.
You're sprinting and diving into like a bunker.
Right.
Bob Wiley, as entertaining as he is, and he is a great part of this season of Hard Knocks, which by the way is like it's must see TV.
Yeah, like I watch it live. And I don't watch anything live.
Yeah, and so as great as he is to that show, that's a guy that I could not be around for more than like 10 minutes.
Oh no, he smells terrible. A sport. Let's see. I have some sports people on here. I've got Peyton Manning.
Oh,
would
fuck
be a
that.
good one.
Yeah, just 'cause it's a fucking commercial that he can do.
Yes. Janelle Monáe.
Okay.
Janelle
Why?
Monáe would make a hell of a colonel because she can do anything.
Okay.
She can do anything.
I have Father John Misty.
Oh, he'd be an
because
awesome
he would
one.
just be like the most insufferable
A
colonel.
nice frail colonel.
Yes, but he would find a way to just make it like the most insufferable commercial of all time.
There's one of his shows this summer. He wore a white suit, so maybe we can do a little Photoshop in there. Justin Guarini make the rounds.
You are trying so hard to get
bring
Justin Guarini back into the
We should have Justin Guarini on, and then after a few minutes, be like, "Well, you haven't been very interesting, Justin. So, best of luck."
He can be our new Santiago.
Yes.
Yeah.
James Ransone, aka Ziggy from The Wire.
Oh, okay.
A little
He's
frantic colonel.
I think he's getting. It's tough to say that he's getting too big for that now because like they've had some heaters of colonels, like they've had some star colonels. I would say so. He's not too big, but he's in the new It movie, so I think that guy might be.
He is.
Yeah,
I think that he was in. I gotta check. I think that he was in The Clapper.
Oh, was he really? Like that guy. I could see that guy's career kind of.
Yeah, he was in
being
The
more on
Clapper.
the uptick after It. Because he's going to be great in it.
Well, yeah. Well, like no one cared about season 2 of The Wire,
Right.
So
But he was so good in that.
yeah, he was awesome, and now it's like obviously beloved.
Right.
But yeah, there was I read an interview with him where like now he gets stopped on the street constantly,
Really?
and
Never
like
did
when
at the
that
time.
show aired, and for like years after, just nothing, and now he's like this fucking legend.
crazy.
It must be like creepy seeing him because he was such a tortured soul.
Right. Massive penis, though. Good for him.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Zac Efron, just because I'd love to discuss that choice.
Same. I have Josh Gad.
Oh, Josh Gad. Yep.
Seems like he was born to play the Colonel.
Yes, but is KFC ready for gay colonel?
That's true. LeFou.
Remember, he played LeFou.
Yep.
There was a lot of discussion there.
They just came out with like a thing that Disney is going to have its first openly gay character in some movie that's coming out, and when they did it, I was like, excuse me, LeFou.
What about
years ago?
Both versions of LeFou,
Right?
Like we deduced before we saw it. We were like, LeFou is gay anyway, right? Like, yeah,
He's 100% gay.
yeah. And then you see the live action one, and like, he like kisses a guy or something like that,
Well,
right?
he's like the
and like he's like in love with.
he's super in love with what's his name.
Yes.
Also, Jack Black.
That's gonna happen.
That's probably
actually gonna happen. I would love back to Jason Alexander, so people wonder if maybe something's up with Jason Alexander.
He like really needs.
Yeah,
the
I'm like,
money.
does Jason? Where is all that syndication money going? Who's getting it?
I'm actually reading the Seinfeld book now, Seinfeldia, and I'm excited to get deeper into it. I've read like about 100 pages right now, and it's basically only backstory at this point.
Nice,
but it's like backstory information. So I'm excited to like. I've been told that there's a lot of behind the scenes stories, so I'm excited about it. Next up, you need the Colonel to freak it. So Jonah Hill.
Jonah Hill would be unbelievable.
Jonah Hill would be great because
Yeah.
that could also like serve to KFC's fat loss image, where you have
Oh, yeah.
Jonah Hill fat one day, and then next Colonel commercial, he's like 100 pounds skinnier.
And Jonah Hill would actually make KFC cool. Like you would find
Right.
people doing like rap squats in front of KFC and taking pictures and shit like that. Stellan Skarsgård, because one of the dads needs to be there, and I prefer him.
I think I would prefer Pierce Brosnan. Pierce Brosnan going from James Bond to the Colonel would be such a
The
funny
suit would need to be like ill-fitting, though. It would need to just be like a really ragged affair.
right? Like, you know how we were talking about like the loosened tie?
Yeah.
He would need to have like the loosened whatever thing that is going on with the Colonel there.
Yeah.
How about if we're on the topic of going from James Bond to the Colonel, what if Idris Elba's career move, now that he isn't James Bond, he is settling for the Colonel?
I would not hate that, but let me think. I'm trying to see. Like, I'm thinking of all these people, like how they would play the Colonel. Because it's been like everyone just acts like a more animated version of themselves.
Pretty
Idris
much.
Elba's thing is that like he's stoic and he's slow and he's deliberate. I kind of would want him to play the Colonel just exactly the way that he plays everything else.
That's why I would want Father John Misty, because it would just be Father John Misty like with his head in his hands at like the Colonel's desk, being like, Who's gonna sell these chickens when I'm gone?
Yeah. Speaking of Seinfeld, you've got to read Hitchhiking with Larry David. Hey, I ever told you about that?
No.
It's a book about a guy who quits his job at like 40. He like had a good job, was making a lot of money, quit his job and went to, I think it was Nantucket, to just like live at his parents' house. And he'd just broken up with his girlfriend who he was completely in love with, and like he just kind of blown up his life. And he was trying to figure out his purpose and all that shit. And he was like riding his bike around Nantucket. It was either Nantucket or Martha's Vineyard. Who cares? And Dylan Larkin shows up. No. And he needed a ride back, so he was hitchhiking, and this guy picked him up. And a few minutes into the ride, he realized, like, oh, this is Larry David. He was like, I just read an article about you. And he was like, you don't know who I am anyway? And he's like, no. He was like, well, I know who you are, but I haven't seen your shows. So, like, but it's nice to meet you. And so he was having this conversation with Larry David, and Larry David is being like Larry David and being like kind of rude and short with him.
You've never seen Seinfeld?
And like he's like asking him a lot of questions, and Larry David's like, hey, quit bugging me, you know? And so later, he like a couple weeks later, he's at this thing and he sees Larry David, and like Larry David walks over to him and he was like, dude, what are you doing here? And like throughout the summer, he keeps running into Larry David, and and it's like this book about this guy. I seriously can't recommend it enough. It's short. It's about this guy who's like trying to find himself. And there are all these experiences
finding Larry David.
There are all of these experiences with Larry David intertwined. And it's amazing. And like at the end, he makes this big life decision, and that's
crazy.
It's hilarious. And like I think that Larry David kind of takes a liking to him, because it's got to be uncommon if you're Larry David to find someone who's like, oh, hi, yeah, I know who you are. I don't really know your work, but you seem like a nice guy. How are you? That must be so.
It's usually the opposite. It's hey, I know who you are,
and I don't
you
care.
Seem like a good guy.
Yeah,
and
right.
That's crazy. Have you ever seen the HBO movie with Larry David and John Hamm?
No, what's that?
It's about Larry David is like in business with John Hamm. Like they're making like the future of cars or something.
Okay,
like the car of the future.
And John Hamm's like, I'll do the voiceovers for the commercials.
No, it's basically them two are like lifelong friends, and they have like creative differences, and they can't get past it. And Larry David just ends up quitting the company. He's like, fine, whatever, you take it, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
And the car takes off. John Hamm gets like super rich and famous and like influential, and Larry David's just like this fucking miserable guy who's gone into hiding. I think it's on like Martha's Vineyard or something. And it's just like the story of him trying to get revenge on John Hamm. And I remember it being funny, but I also saw it like before I was exposed to Larry David.
I thought you were going to say exposed to John Hamm.
No, well, that too. But it was before like I got Larry David. So I think that if I went back and watched it now, I would think it was like 100 times funnier than I did then. Let me see what it's called.
I did see the Larry David movie. It's called like Whatever It Takes or something. And that movie stunk.
Clear History.
Why wouldn't I know that? Whatever Works is the movie. And it's about a guy with OCD. And Woody Allen wrote and directed it. So
it's wild because Larry David like is in the movie the entire time with like a giant beard and hair.
Really?
Like he looks like the caveman guy.
When did it come out?
2015.
Oh shit, I was alive then.
Yep. 2013, sorry.
Shit.
5 years ago.
Yeah. That's pretty wild. Do you have any other
written by Alec Berg.
Ooh. So
and Larry David and Jeff Schaefer.
Tell you who doesn't like it is what's his face's crazy ass.
Who?
TJ Miller.
Why?
TJ Miller doesn't like Alec Berg. Yeah. Is TJ Miller still a thing? Like, is he gonna? I can't tell if he just like hasn't recovered from his the college girl coming out with her story, or if he just hasn't recovered from that stand-up special. and the Emoji Movie. Like he's done so many. Like he hasn't
He's
done anything good.
Yeah, I mean, but he was in Deadpool too. Like that's the only thing. But that doesn't really count to me because he was just like a secondary player in that.
Yeah.
And he was in Deadpool 1 beforehand. So it's not like he like got that because he left Silicon Valley or anything like that. He could have easily done both. He did the first time around.
What happened in Better Call Saul this week? Something I honestly can't remember.
It was a lot with Gus and
Nacho?
Nacho, yeah.
But what are they doing?
Nacho's under
Oh
the
yeah,
control.
we know they're setting up that like they were ambushed.
Right, and he goes to that vet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember how it was like a good episode. I mean, it was interesting, but I don't remember.
It had a classic Vince Gilligan 5 minutes of what's going on when
the opening scene where they're staging the car crash. Like that is Vince Gilligan at his best, where he has so many of those moments where he has like this huge build up, and you're like, I have no idea what's going on right now, but I'm so interested in this and where they're going with it.
Yeah, that actually reminds me of the policeman who did that.
Oh, when he shot up his own car?
No, like in real life, a policeman was trying to stage an accident.
Yeah, he shot up his own car.
No, that's super bad.
No, but he also shot up his own car.
One time a policeman shot up their own car?
Yeah.
With what?
A gun.
Oh, I thought you meant like the car was shooting up.
Yeah, like heroin.
Yeah, that's Herbie Fully Loaded. Yes. Because it's Lindsay Lohan.
Imagine if they just rebooted Herbie and it was like Herbie Rehab.
Did you see that they
Herbie Fully Rehab?
Did you see they did like a photo shoot for like the 25-year anniversary of Mean Girls?
No.
Yeah, not 25 years, but it's like all of them. And everyone looks great, but it's like, man, Amanda Seinfeld and Rachel McAdams really kicked all of your asses.
Don't
Lacey Chabert?
Yeah.
But why? She must be a terrible actress. Why didn't she end up in anything?
Wasn't she the voice of Tommy Pickles?
She was the voice of Meg.
No, she wasn't.
Yes, she was.
No, what, Meg from Family Guy?
Family Guy, yeah.
No, that's Mila Kunis.
Mila Kunis replaced her.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Was she the voice of Eliza Thornberry?
I don't know.
Oh yeah, she was. She was Eliza Thornberry, not Tommy Pickles. My bad. Yeah, Meg Griffin during the first production season of Family Guy.
Do you know what?
She really hasn't done anything since then, huh?
No, she's
crazy.
I think that if your last name starts with CHA and you were popular in your teens, then you just don't get to be popular after JC Chazet.